What is up, guys? We are back here with another episode of the vlog, and in today's episode we are going to kind of talk through how I am setting up my diet, and then we're going to take you along with my day because we're going to go on a lovely walk somewhere. Haven't decided yet, because although you can't really see it now, it is going to be a lovely day, and then we're going to go get food somewhere. So I'm both going to show you how I'm setting up my diet, and then we're going to discuss how to allow, differing days to help you, or rather how differing days will dictate how you actually set up your day-to-day nutrition. Because today's going to be quite an active day, although I am generally trying to get 10,000 steps every day. Some days it's down at 8,000, some days it's down at 7,000, because I basically have a sedentary job right now and I'm just writing emails, writing content, recording content, and I pretty much just sit for most of the day, or stand. Like, I generally try to squat, like sit in a squat position while I'm doing some work. I generally try to stand, but a lot of the stuff, especially if you're just reading for hours on end or writing for hours on end, it does get kind of a bit boring to be sitting, or to be squatting, or to be standing, and I just end up sitting down. So I am quite sedentary, but I do try to get on 1 to 2 longer walks out in nature, especially if it's a good day like today is supposed to be, because I do think there is quite a bit of benefit of getting out into nature and actually enjoying that, not just from like a visual point of view, but actually breathing in fresher air, actually enjoying the country that you live in, or perhaps the country that you're visiting, and getting a little bit of an awareness of your surroundings, not just the hustle and bustle of the city, if that's where you live. Like, I live in Dublin, so although, as you can see, like, I'm pretty much the edge of Dublin, like they're the Wicklow Mountains, and even I think, with them even at my door, I don't get enough activity out in the open, out in the freedom, and I'm most of the time just walking on concrete, and I don't like that. I want to be a little bit more natural, out in nature, we'll say. But yeah, so talking through how I'm setting up my diet, and we'll kind of talk through how my day-to-day setup of my diet is like with regards to my calories, macros, etc., and then take you along throughout the day and discuss how I kind of fit in other foods and other events into my life. Anyway, we're going to go downstairs and talk you through that. And boom, we're back. So I came downstairs just because wanted to get some coffee, because quite frankly it's the nectar of the gods and pretty much need it to function. No, I don't need it, but it is one of my favorite things in life. It's the simple things, so yeah, we're out in my back garden, just so you know where I am. And yeah, so today we'll go through what I generally do. So I'm much more of a fan of setting up my calories, setting up my macronutrients, so that I'm eating the same thing pretty much every day. While there is definitely an argument for having different calorie levels throughout the week, maybe high days, low days, medium days, and potentially an argument for differing carbohydrate levels throughout the week. Not that it's going to be the make or break of your overall program or your overall diet, as at the end of the day it realistically is calories in, calories out. Like, you're not violating the second law of thermodynamics. It is at the end of the day the CECO, calories in, calories out. Now obviously we're not just a closed system that isn't affected by the environment, by what we put in our body, and etc. Like, we should be taking all of that kind of stuff into consideration, especially if it is health that we are looking for, not just a certain body fat level, or maybe even a certain performance. If we're looking for this all-encompassing health, body composition and performance level, like, we do need to look at not just the overall calories and not just the overall macronutrients, but the sources of those calories and macronutrients, and then of course how that fits into the grander scheme of your life and your lifestyle as a whole. So with me, calories roughly around 3,000, which is pretty low for me, but as I said, I'm pretty much sedentary. I drive everywhere. Well, I walk to the gym most days because that's where I get my steps in, but I drive everywhere apart from that, and yeah, I pretty much sit all day. So calories, while I used to cycle everywhere, and calories I could keep calories really, really high. Roughly now, I'm kind of finding my maintenance is roughly around 3,500. So needs must at the moment, kind of dieting and want to get a little bit leaner. Don't have to get too lean, or rather I don't have to drop too much to get to where I want to be. Roughly now I'm kind of 92. I think I was 92.7 this morning, and I really just want to get down to maybe 88, 90. We'll see, somewhere around there, depending on how I look, how I feel, how I perform. Because as I said, my overall goals are just that double bodyweight front squat. So losing a couple of kilos is going to help facilitate that, but also you don't want to be getting too lean so that, you know, strength starts to suffer that little bit. Or your ability to recover from training starts to suffer, because, you know, I do actually enjoy training, and obviously if I have a performance goal, I'm going to have to train and recover, you know. So that's roughly where my calories are. Protein, I like to keep protein pretty high. I find for myself it does keep me fuller, and I do notice if I have my protein on the higher side of things, I do seem to get stronger more quickly. However, that could just be placebo, and I kind of don't know. But I personally find some benefit from having my protein higher, and roughly I kind of have it at, you know, 300 grams currently, and that's kind of the level that I like to keep it at, whether I'm dieting, whether I am gaining. And again, we can make the argument that, you know, if you're gaining weight, you can afford to eat less protein. However, I find that I'm just really, really hungry if I try to lower my protein below that. So even if I'm gaining, I'll keep it pretty high, up around that 300 gram mark. So that's where the protein is at. Carbs, I think they're somewhere around 350, 370, somewhere around there. Couldn't tell you the specifics. Fats, I think they're somewhere like 85, 90, again, somewhere in around there. I'm not too concerned about hitting them bang on, as right now my goal isn't to be as absolutely shredded as possible. It isn't to be as absolutely, you know, anal about my diet as possible. I'm not testing any new theories around diet or anything like that. What I am trying to do is enjoy the summer, so I'm giving myself a little bit of flexibility there. However, I still want to hit my goals. So while I do try to hit those numbers, or roughly around those numbers, pretty much every day, like if I have a day and I'm up at 100 grams of fat and carbohydrates are lower, like I'm not thinking too much into it, you know. So that's kind of where I'm at with my diet. I'm hitting roughly those numbers. I'm not being too strict, I'm not being too anal about it, but some days, especially if it's just days where I'm sitting at home, I will pretty much bang on hit my numbers. Days that I'm doing a little bit more activity, like today, where I'll be going out and probably most likely eating out, like, no, I definitely will be eating out, I'm going to be a little bit more, you know, open with my numbers, have a little bit more freedom with my numbers. So that's roughly where my diet is at. That's roughly how I'm kind of setting it up. Generally, I find, you know, 4 to 5 meals for me, including intra-workout, is where that kind of allows me feel the fullest, perform at my best. Otherwise, I just get kind of hungry. Like, veg is still high. Like, I do genuinely think there is a lot of benefit to eating more fruit and vegetables, much more than the 5 a day that we're told to eat. Like, I think it's kind of like 10 to 12 per day, maybe even 15 per day, and that's kind of the ideal button to hit. However, that might be just unbearable or unreachable for some people, so I'm not going to say 5 per day is bad. I would just rather see it a little bit higher, and for me, that's roughly where I have it. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with my diet. That's roughly where I plan to go with my diet in terms of how I plan to approach it, not being too anal, not being too overly strict. Like, I don't have a huge amount of weight to lose, and I plan on doing it over, you know, a couple of weeks. Like, if I notice myself dropping a little bit quicker than I like, I'll just eat a little bit more. If I notice my performance going down, again, I'll just eat a little bit more. It's not like I have a holiday booked, although hopefully I will get away sometime in August. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not like, oh, I have to be a certain level of leanness, or I have to be really, really strict with my diet. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I know what I'm about. I know how my body responds, and I can afford to be a little bit more loose with my overall tracking. You know, there is some inbuilt error in tracking in general. I like to minimize that, but at the same time, I like to accept that and realize that, you know, I'm not going to be 1000% perfect with my diet, and realistically, being 1000% perfect with your diet isn't required if the goals you are looking for are just to be, you know, fitter, slightly more aesthetic, healthier, just overall improve your health, body composition and performance. Like, I don't think you need to be super strict, super hard on yourself if you fall off the wagon or you're not really anal with your overall diet. Although at the other end of it, people trying to be way too flexible with their diet, you do run into a lot of issues, especially if it's a daily thing. You know, people like to say, oh, well, I only have 10% of my diet as flexible stuff, and when you actually analyze the diet, you know, it's 20, 30, 40% of their diet is quote unquote flexible, and they're eating junk food. And it's like, okay, yeah, cool, I understand you think it's only 10% because it's such a small thing, but due to how low your calories are, this is actually a huge portion of your overall diet. So I'm all for being a little bit more flexible in your diet, but at the same time, you have to realize that the increase in flexibility doesn't mean that you're going to be able to actually get the results that you want, even though it's easier to stick to the diet as a whole because you're more flexible. So you do have to take into account that, you know, there is a trade-off there, that increases in flexibility don't necessarily mean that the diet will be easier, because you'll just have to diet for longer, or you're going to have a lot of like GI upset or different things going on if you are overly flexible with your diet. Anyway, that's where I'm at with my diet. I plan on only dieting for 8-10 weeks. Like, this is the first week that we kind of started dieting, and it's been going well. I think I lost like 2 kilos, 3 kilos maybe, but again, that's just water weight, that's just glycogen, and that's something that people kind of forget, especially as they diet, or when they look at other people dieting, they go, oh, well, I think I got down to 85 kilos, say, last year when I dieted, and I was pretty lean, like not competition lean, but pretty lean. Like, you know, there were some striations in my glutes and stuff, not like, you know, bodybuilding striations, but you could see some definition there. I was 85 kilos, and people kind of going, oh, was that not a bit light? What's the story there? But as soon as I brought my calories back up to maintenance, you know, I was 88, 89 kilos, you know, day to day, and like my body fat, everything was the exact same. So people do forget that, you know, you do have quite a bit of glycogen, quite a bit of water, and when you start a diet, you're just going to be dropping that mainly. It's not fat. Well, like, you may lose some fat, but that's the majority of where it's coming from. And then again, when you transition out of a diet, you're going to gain that back, you know, and that's not a bad thing. Fucking wasp flying by me, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, physiology. Like, it's not something that you should be going, oh fuck, my diet's broken, I went up to maintenance and all of a sudden I gained 2 kilos. It's like, yeah, cool, it's water, glycogen, get over it, it's no big deal, you know. Anyway, I have to go to the bank now. Then we are going to go for a walk. The sun is starting to poke out, and you can see how blue the sky is getting. So yeah, we'll take you along the way. You don't know where we're going yet. I don't know where we're going yet, but we'll find out. What is up, guys? So we are here now. We are in the lovely Bray, as you can see behind me. We've got the sea back there, and where we're going to go is the Bray to Greystones walk, which is that way, I want to say. I do believe it is. So as you can see, some nice scenes along the way. Then we're going to get food afterwards. We still haven't decided where we're going to get food, but we're going to take you along on the journey, guys. down here, and I don't know if you can see off in the distance, obviously you guys can't see it, but there was in fact some little seal boys going zipping around, diving around, having a good time, because you know yourself, even the seals enjoy a nice sunny day. And as I was saying before, like, I do think there is a huge merit in getting out, enjoying the environment that you find yourself in. You know, there's always amenities around, whether they be beaches, walks, you know, there's always something around where you are, and get out, enjoy it, even if it's just a park beside your house, beside your home. There is a lot of benefit outside of the whole like non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, just getting your steps and stuff. There is a lot of benefit of, you know, getting out, enjoying nature. You know, obviously if it's a nice day, you can get some vitamin D. I don't know if you can hear me, there's some wind here right now. But yeah, like, there is obviously a huge benefit to getting out, enjoying the environment that you find yourself in. You know, there's always somewhere you can go, there's always some things you can see, and that's something that I kind of want to do with the vlog. You know, show you stuff that I know around Dublin, and you know, hopefully get some suggestions as well around Ireland that, you know, maybe you wouldn't see, or maybe, you know, they are just the typical tourist attractions, but you know, we're going to enjoy them all and take you along with me for them. Right, so we are back in Bray after that lovely walk. You know, it was quite enjoyable, wouldn't you agree? So we're gonna get food now. What the fuck is my hair doing? Yeah, so gonna drive back home now, probably charge phones and shit, and then go get food. So again, we're gonna take you along with us. What are we gonna get tonight?
Barbecue?
Ribs?
Ribs.
Yes, now. Anyway, that has been my day. That is what we got up to on this fine, beautiful day in Dublin. The Bray to Greystones walk is a really, really nice walk, especially when the sun is out. But even if it's a, you know, kind of overcast day, the views well make up for the lack of sunshine. In terms of the food I got there, you know, we went to Pit Bros, got some ribs. Like, I don't care what anyone says, ribs over aesthetics any day of the week. Like, I would rather be able to fit ribs into my diet than be 4 or 5% body fat. You know, for me, it doesn't fit in with my goals, just overly restricting myself, especially because I don't have actually anything to diet for. Now, with regards to how that fit into my diet, what I generally like to do is kind of get an idea of where I am calorie wise in terms of the meal that I'll probably be having out, and then for the day earlier to that, I like to keep calories just a little bit lower, still focus on getting, you know, protein in, mainly kind of focusing on protein and veggie kind of meals, keeping overall calories low. Like, I'm not going to be, again, as I said, too anal about this whole dieting phase. You know, I actually just want to live my life, improve my performance, improve my health, improve my body composition. But you know, where I'm at with my overall goals, none of them are really overly important to me. I am quite healthy, all my blood markers are in check, my performance is improving, and as of last week, you know, my body fat is slowly going back down. I probably will do some sort of physique check-in, so you know where I'm at and how things are progressing throughout the entire diet. It's not going to be too aggressive, it's not going to be hopefully too long, as I'm really not kind of getting or looking to get that really lean, or get to that really lean place. I'm just looking to tidy up a little bit, you know, be kind of beach ready, and not feel kind of, oh, like, do I have a little bit of a roll of fat here? Because I don't care what anyone says. Like, yes, accepting your body, loving your body, all great things, but you know, we're humans. Like, we like to look a certain way, especially if you're in the fitness industry. You do have a generally kind of skewed idea of what aesthetic looks like, so yeah, that overly ripped physique does kind of have, or is kind of imprinted in my mind, where it's like, yeah, that's in shape. Whereas realistically, like, you going onto a beach, 10% body fat, like, you're better than, body fat wise, better than 99% of the people on the beach. So like, realistically, you know, the average person, the general population, like you being 15% and having, you know, outline of abs, and you being 10% and having abs, like they genuinely don't really notice a huge difference. So again, you have to put that into perspective of what you're actually looking to achieve and your overall goals in this whole health fitness sphere. Anyway guys, gonna wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed that. As per usual guys, you know, the more informative stuff we go into, you'll find it in the militia. We are trying to put up more kind of content with, you know, video, audio, that kind of stuff. Obviously we have the podcast as well, and you know, I just presume all of you guys are in the militia, where we really dive deep with all the kind of science stuff. Anyway guys, wrapping it up there. Peace out.